everybody. So we are in week 5, which is crazy, but I wanted to go over everything that we've got to get done this week. As always, my computer is rather slow, but start off with the lecture. As always, you can view this in either format that you would like, but it is, again, very important that you engage with the lecture. This week is talking about different modes of persuasion: ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos being credibility, trying to get your audience to believe you because you are a credible source and you know what you're talking about. Pathos having to do with emotion. Think of the YMCA Sarah McLachlan commercial. Logos having to do with logic. So that's really what it is that we're focusing on, with the exception of the portfolio. I mean, yes, your argument does need to include ethos, pathos, and logos. But as far as getting extra practice with those, that really is relating to the discussion and then the modes of persuasion assignment. So the discussion, please pay attention to the fact that it is based on your last name. There are 3 different commercials. You are going to view all of them. However, you're only going to write about one of them. So depending on what your last name starts with is going to be which one that you're going to view. So make sure that you're paying attention to that. Then there is the modes of persuasion. And with this one, again, it's the same 3 commercials that were from the discussion. So that's kind of nice. But you're creating a PowerPoint or a slides presentation based on these commercials. Which one relates to ethos, what relates to pathos, which relates to logos, and why. So the PowerPoint that you create needs to be visually appealing, use images, bullet points, and you need to be able to use the notes section. So the 3 commercials are listed here. Your PowerPoint really only needs 4 slides. You need the title slide, which would have the title of the assignment and your name. Slide for the ethos, for pathos, for logos. And then each of your main slides, meaning these 3, needs to identify which one is ethos, which is pathos, and which is logos. Oftentimes the commercials have more than one. So something might use pathos and credibility. So pathos and ethos. But you're looking to see, okay, which one is the stronger mode of persuasion that's going. So you're writing the definition, your definition, not just a definition, but your specifically definition in your own words of what that persuasion is. And then write the justification and reflection in the notes, use bullet points. In this as well, there is a sample. So you'll notice it's like this. Okay? You do need to include a picture. I prefer using Google Slides personally, but you can use any Slides app that you want. If you want to use, wow, my brain just went blank. I'm so sorry. Microsoft PowerPoint is fine. If you want to use Canva, that's fine. As long as you can have notes, that's the key. Okay, because you have to say which commercial it is, say whether it's ethos, pathos, and logos. You have to have bullet points. If you notice, these bullet points are not in complete sentences. Cute dogs and costumes, not a complete sentence. Slow motion, not a complete sentence. But then the notes area allows you to go into more depth. Because the idea is, if you were really presenting this, you wouldn't want to read exactly what is on the slides. That becomes super boring. So the notes is just, in reality, would be a way for you to be like, okay, this is what it is that I'm going to talk about. So this week you have the lecture, you have the discussion. Make sure you respond to 3 people on 3 different days. You have the modes of persuasion assignment, and then you have your rough draft of your portfolio project. That's what it is that we've been working on. Okay. So your rough draft is due this week. Please, please, please make it as complete as possible so you can get accurate feedback. I cannot stress that enough. I will try to give as thorough as feedback as I can. It is persuasive. You do need to make sure that you are using sources. It needs to be at least 4 pages in length, not including the cover page and references. Okay. So if you want more instruction about the cover page, I'm more than happy to do that. Please let me know. Same thing with the reference page. You need to use 4 credible sources. Now, last week, you were asked to identify which sources, and I gave those back to you. Please take a look at that. In that assignments, the potential sources worksheet, I had comments in the document itself. I had documents as the overall, or comments in the overall, and I also attached a chart. This is an example of what one of those charts would look like. Please, please, please pay attention to this. Should this source be used? The check marks really had to do with the grading aspect. Oops, sorry. Of really, we're just gonna stop working. So this should it be used or no? So if you have anything that is red, no, it is not an academic source. Do not use that source. You need to find a new source for that. Okay. If it's a dark green in comparison to a different green, it's an absolute yes. If there's a lighter green in comparison to another green, it's like, you could use it, but it would be better if you could find something else. So please, please, please pay attention to that, because I'm going to be paying attention to that. If I said to you, this is not a good source, do not use this source, I genuinely do not want you to use it because it's not academic. If it was an argument that you were having with a friend, somebody that you were trying to convince in a non-academic setting, the source that you chose would probably be fine. But this is something different. So it is really important that you use academic sources for this. You need to write an essay, so it has to have a formal academic structure. You need an introduction, body paragraphs, at least 3. You can have more than 3, but 1 per reasoning. You should have a counter argument in there. That could be a separate paragraph, or it could be interwoven within your paragraphs that you already have and your conclusion. Okay. So that is week 5 this week. Week 6 is going to be your final essay submission. So the earlier, honestly, that you can do the essay, the better, because it'll allow me to have a little bit more time to get feedback back to you. So that is the plan. If there are any questions on anything, please let me know.